welcome to another week's edition of It's a Man's World. I am Dario.
Forever Jason.
And I'm Naik.
And tonight we're going to be discussing co-parenting.
That is a hot topic tonight.
I don't know about hot, but
it's a hot topic.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting.
That's awesome.
You know, we're going to be touching on some very sensitive topics.
Yeah.
You know, matters in the court and such. But I think once we all are honest.
Yeah, we will be. I don't think we've ever been anything else on this show. So
I mean, you know, speak the truth. Shame the devil.
Shame the devil is. I like
shame
that.
on him.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to be talking about co-parenting, and it might get emotional.
Very much so indeed.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Every year I'm searching for number one.
Excuse me, sir. Can I help you?
Yes, I found my number one. I'll take it.
The latest looks and the newest trends for home fashion is number one at Living Spaces, located on Old Pound Road.
But it would mean nothing. You're not a woman or a girl.
And we're back.
And it's still a man's world.
Very much so indeed. And right now, we are going to touch this sensitive, deep topic of co-parenting. This topic, it actually is going to touch me. Co-parenting is very important. So, I'm going to start first this evening.
I'm interested to hear this.
Yeah.
I was anticipating Jason when I was on my drive over.
Wow, that's kind of creepy, but thanks though. As a young man growing up, there was not much of my father there, but he was there once in a blue. Still respect him, he did what he did, but there was very little father-son time, father-mother-son time. You know, and as a young man, it's kind of weird. You're at school, and especially if you live with one of your parents, you hear one saying, okay, I was displaced with my mom and dad and this and that and that. What about you? Oh, I was home cleaning with my mom. Or I was with my dad at this time. Some of them, they have the joy and the pleasure of having both parents or cooperating parents who are just like always like, okay, this is my child. Talk about my child. Back and forth. Yes. How is he? How is she? Yeah, that's it. But some of us are not as lucky. We only have one or the other. And sometimes they don't get along. And it really touches me because imagine there was a time I was in primary school and there was the group of us, they were there and they were talking about, oh, it's a family trip, you know, mommy and daddy take me. What about you? I'm like, it's just another day for me. Not wanting to even put a proper input, letting them know, okay, if anything I have to go by my father in All Saints, or I'm just gonna stay home because I've gone with mommy. You know, so it's kind of very, very, it's a hard topic because sometimes even when you talk about these things, you're like, boy, I really have to talk about this. I need to touch this. It's just like, it irks my soul. You know, people, I just want to say this before I hand over the mic. If you and a man have a child, ladies, I'm talking about ladies, if you and a guy have a child, cooperate for the child's sake no matter what. Guys, cooperate with the woman for your child's sake. Male, female, it doesn't matter what differences you have. The core is the child. The world does not revolve around you or her anymore. Her. Sorry. I don't know why I said that, but you or her anymore. It revolves around the child. Let what you do, the choices you make, be for and about the child. Come on, stop it. You're killing it.
Dario.
Wow. That was deep. And now Jason opened up, and trust me, it's the most interested I've ever been listening to you. Now, that sounds messed up, but trust me, it's a compliment.
I actually understand where you're coming from.
You went there. And
I understand.
I'll tell you why it resonated with me, because I had both parents in the house growing up. So to hear from the child's perspective, not calling Jason a child, but from the child's perspective, going through that situation and now being on the other side where I co-parent with, my daughter's mother. And it's tough. It's tough on everybody. It's tough on the parents, it's tough on the kids, and
extremely tough on
the thing is, and you'll find that what solves most problems is honesty.
Definitely.
I find a lot of times in the co-parenting situation, the one person or the other, meaning the parents, take things that happen randomly, personally, and they make a small situation larger than it is. The child came home late, or there's a socks missing, or there's a shoe missing, or things. I've heard arguments that make absolutely no sense.
Bro.
I mean, seriously, stuff happened. Is the child dead? Did he die? Is he cool? Did he have fun with mommy today? Did he have fun with it? It has to be about the experience. We need to stop creating some generic rules in our mind that this is how X, Y, Z is supposed to go. Create the rules that work for your situation. And at the end of the day, is the child growing? Is the child healthy? And is the child happy? Full stop and stop.
Right.
Nothing else matters.
Like I said a while ago, the earth does not revolve around the parent
Earth doesn't
anymore.
revolve, but go ahead.
Moving right along. It doesn't revolve around them anymore. It revolves around the child. Stop being stuck up and arrogant. Stop putting yourself before and your irks with the mother or the father before the child. Because while you're doing that, the child is suffering. Child needs something. Oh, you now go over it today. I have to look in your face.
Yeah, I've heard
Dude,
messed stuff like that.
That makes no sense. Look about your child. You took the chance to go in a bed with her. Take care of your child.
But do you honestly believe when they make statements like that? I mean, no, the statement you made is.
I don't believe it. I don't believe.
No, I don't think anybody actually thinks. Okay, when I'm more looking at the girl. No, women can be very nagging. We will all agree. Just generally.
Yeah.
Now, this is no disrespect to women, but y'all know y'all nag. I mean, y'all even talk to your friends
y'all
half the
are
time.
the best. Y'all are the best.
Because y'all friends are nagging you.
That was sarcasm if you didn't know.
It's difficult when there's a breakup and there's a child involved. I mean, there are always going to be emotions, whether they be good ones, bad ones, whatever. There's going to be hurt feelings. If not, y'all will still be together. But you really got to get over it. It can't. You got to get over the person. You got to move on. You have to be able to just cut that off and say, hey, we're parents. We're going to do this. Now, I'm going to be honest. When my daughter was very young, I was not the most responsive father. Not saying I wasn't helpful. Anything she needed, that was fine. But in terms of, the time that I should have been putting in, I would say I didn't put in enough time. Now that she's grown and she has no use for that, you miss those times.
You're like,
it's crazy.
I wouldn't know, but yeah. So, I want to hear a nice point of view because he's been rather quiet, so
okay,
I want to hear him.
Okay, I think co-parenting. Now, if it has to reach to the point where co-parenting is the only option that you have to undertake, there are a couple of things that you have to understand. The key word is responsibility. You have to understand that regardless of all you've been through with, or the breakdown that you've been through with the mother, you still have that responsibility.
Or the father.
Or the partner. You still have that responsibility. You still have to make sure that, you're there. I can basically say, say that if it has to reach to the point of co-parenting is the only option or way forward, it shouldn't really have to reach to that level. I think it's really difficult when one of the partners tries to at least engage with the other person, when it's very difficult when the other party doesn't even want to talk to you.
True.
Right? And then it does evolve into a situation where you don't want to see that other person. So then, as you then pointed out, Jason, the child does suffer. because as engaging as you were, because not all relationships break up when the child is, young and still understanding and still learning. A lot of times these breakups happen when the child is of age, understands the situation, was present during the separation, along with the full-blown breakup. Now, if that does come about, I think that the only respectful thing is to do that should come about it is that if both parties can just be amicable, respectable in each other, and not be.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not. They shouldn't
Not
be.
only be respectful, just be real about the situation. You all have a kid
no,
together.
the situation already is real. But then my thing is, right?
Some of them don't realize that.
No, you don't deliberately create obstacles for the other person. You don't deliberately do things. I mean, I know of parties who became, very abusive, not to the person, but indirectly to the person. My thing is, right, you don't destroy the other person's character because you and them didn't make it. Right. Because you still have to understand that there's a underlying factor. You have children, you have a child with this particular person. So you're gonna badmouth that person and call them all sorts of names, but then society is gonna listen to you, but then when you walk away, society is gonna say, so she's a hoe now. Oh. So if she's a hoe now, that means he was with a hoe and he had kids with a hoe. So my thing is, right, it does not ever end up being a situation where you're painting a bad picture to the other person, about the other person, and it's not gonna be reflected back on you.
We talked about sex shaming.
Right.
Basically,
it's just like slut shaming or another version of it. Now, also, there has to be some line of communication. There needs to be some sort of communication needs to be some sort of line of communication, even if it's just a fact. It's like a rundown, or if you have to summarize everything what's going on. My thing is, right, you don't have to be cordial. Well, I mean, be cordial. Good night, good afternoon, what have you. But stick to the facts. Stick to the facts. If you know, okay, let me just draw a situation. Let me just draw a scenario. If somebody comes in, if your child comes in and says, or if the mother comes to you and says, well, I need money to buy a book bag for the child. School bag, knapsack, whatever you want to call it. You go out, you buy your JanSport, you buy your North Face for the child. But then you're speaking to the mom, and then she comes and hits you up with, oh, well, there was this other thing that she needed, this and this and that. No. Your main thing was supposed to be for the book bag. But then when you divert from that, and I'm gonna lay it down. I mean, it's a man's world, but what's not for men? The law. And that's the realest thing I can say. The way that things are shaped up, I mean, you can put forward everything that you have to put forward. And you could basically say, listen, these are all the eggs that I have. And there's only so many eggs I have. But then if the law says, you're gonna have to find another basket of eggs, that's what you're gonna have to find. You're gonna, by hook or crook. But my thing is, right, at the end of the day, you shouldn't, male or female, and men can be petty, like how women can be manipulative and heartless. My thing is, right, we all have the same traits. We all can be evil, and we can totally be so wrapped up in our combativeness that we actually totally forget that at the core of it all is a child. Now, I know of instances where children, knowing that their parents are going to break up, they're so fearful of it because everybody is knowing them to have mommy and daddy home. But then when mommy and daddy are home and mommy and daddy aren't even conversing, when mommy and daddy aren't even looking at each other, when mommy and daddy aren't, I mean, they're so protective that they don't want that to be shown to their peers because they don't want to be put into a bracket. They want to be,
so
marginalized.
they take attention away from that and they make themselves the center of attraction.
No. I don't think
that happens.
I don't even think the parents are thinking about the child in that instance because they're thinking about their hurt, they're thinking about their loss, they're thinking about their anger. And that last word, that anger, it festers so much so that logic totally comes out of the whole equation. Then it's only when things get really bad then when you try to resolve everything
But
and put
sometimes
everything
it
back
becomes
into the
too
stuff.
late for that.
No. There's always resolution. There's always room for resolution. But I think at the end of it all,
You see that?
there has to be there has to be responsibility. There's always hope. If one thing, the most powerful thing
always
to
hope.
me
You
in
see
the
that?
world is hope. Because
Of course, there's always hope.
Yeah,
but
but
look at it. Look at this. You're saying that they try. In the end, they try. But the key word is the end.
yeah, well,
Because look at it.
I'm not looking at it. Okay,
you have parents. Hold on, let me say something. You have a parent. Well, you have parents that are in the middle of discussion, or just not even discussion. They're at it like people in war. The child is there, they're looking back and forth, wondering what's going on. They're like, I can't take this. So the child puts himself in place. You know what? I need to find some way to vent, something to get my mind off of this. My parents aren't seeing eye to eye. My mother, she's over here. My father, he's down there. I can't take this. I need to find some way to vent. I need to do something. Some of them turn to drugs. Some of them turn to all kinds of stuff.
That's real.
You understand?
That's
I'm
real
not
stuff.
asking you. I'm
It's real
telling
life.
you.
okay,
Real
well,
life.
and
You understand?
I
And they
respect
think,
your point.
the parents say, okay. Then they realize something is up with their child. But by the time they come to a conclusion with each other, say, okay, we need to stop this. We need to focus on our child.
I respect your
Sometimes
point.
it becomes way too late. The child is so deep in what they're doing. Even trying to talk to them, it's like, yo,
All right.
now you remember I exist?
Okay, well, you didn't really let me finish my point. And I do
Sorry,
understand.
but
I do
still.
understand what you're saying, and I really empathize with what you're saying because you're speaking of it from the child's standpoint.
Yeah.
Right. But then, at the core of it all, I think, as a parent, and Dario can either agree or if he knows
his
what I'm
point,
talking about.
puts his view,
It's
yeah.
like if there's no reciprocity in the relationship of the parents, it can go so many sideways because sometimes you can get so tied up in your own BS, that you totally dissuade the whole fact that the child is the one who really is the one that you should be. But then you can get so wrapped up. I mean, I've known parents that have gone through their breakup, and then this is what they do. They try to go into this competition where anything that the child wants, they start catering for them. And that also is a destructive factor.
True that. That
Because
is
my
true.
thing is, right, you're leading that child down the situation because kids nowadays, they're very, very smart. No, they're smart. And they're very manipulative. Then you find if you reach a situation where a child can have 3 cell phones, because mommy and daddy are trying to outdo each other, and then you have godparents coming into the equation because mommy and daddy are too busy bickering. But then, there's so many different things we can talk about regarding this, but I think we should take a break because
Yeah.
we need a break.
And when we do come back, we're gonna pick up where he left off, and we're going to touch co-parenting from a single parent's view.
They move like they get more than they really get.
Listen to me.
And because of the female, they have
Yes, sir.
Whose world it is,
Unfortunately, it's a woman's world. Unfortunately, the show is called It's a Man's World, but the reality is a woman's world because we are, we're slaves to it, and it's the only thing that we pursue in this life. The only thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, women have, there are a lot of different things that I will say that you all have focused on a lot of different things. But men, single-minded, and if any man is honest with himself, one thing, and that puts the woman in a advantageous position.
So let me ask you a question. So, feel some man they love money more than woman?
Yes.
Well, exactly. So
but there are exceptions. I mean, I've always said this: nothing is everything, and nothing is always. So there are exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, that's my experience. You know, this is just what it is. But I mean, I love women. No, don't get me wrong.
Well, of course.
In both in the relationship sense of it, and just love who women are and how they are. But the fact of the matter is, for you to tell me that a woman is more efficient than the man, I can't buy that, because that's not my reality.
But it would mean nothing, without a woman or a girl.
And we're back, and welcome to It's a Man's World again, and this is our final segment, and I am going to educate everybody like I always do every week. That's why you stay tuned.
That's Darius'
Come on. That's
Now,
his ego.
This is from experience, and this is not what I did, so I'm learning from my mistakes.
Very much so.
The problem is you. The problem is not the other parent. The problem is you. I'm telling you this now, and this is why the problem is you. Stop thinking of it like, well, she didn't do X, so I have to do Y. Or he didn't do A, so I have to do B.
Exactly. Yo,
It's
you hit the nail on the head.
The kids. So if you have to do all of it, then do all of it.
That's it.
It's your child. It don't matter. Just take the responsibility out of your head, out of the other person. Do your job. You know, one of my previous employees, love you, Michelle, she said to me one time, Dario, do your job. It was the best advice I've ever heard from a superior ever. Do your job. If your job is a father, be a father. If your job is a mother, be a mother. Irregardless, that's not even a word, but regardless of whatever the other person is doing, you do your job. That way, nothing gets taken for granted. The child doesn't suffer, and you have no problem, because you're in the start of it, you know you're doing everything. The problem is y'all think y'all in a canoe. You're not in a canoe, you're in a kayak. Do your job. It's you alone, it's your child, do your job. Problem solved. Everybody's fighting because they get bothered by him picking him up late, or her not dropping her off on time, or all of that.
Do your job. Just do your job.
Do your job.
That's the bottom line.
Every day you wake up and you make sure the lunch is packed. You make sure that the lunch money's there. You make sure they get picked up from school. Do
Before
your
that,
job.
make sure they do their homework. Make sure that. Yeah, man.
That might mean that you're talking to the other parent, finding out if XYZ was done. But do your job.
That's
you
all.
need to know. It should never be one parent at a PTA meeting unless you are otherwise occupied. Don't send to the mother.
Okay,
or the father,
I can't make it. Your father has to go.
And then gonna let them report to you. Let the child know that you both care. Do your job. When the child's playing football, when the child's playing basketball, when the child's playing
whatever sport.
play pan people.
It's turned up. It's turned up.
Do your job every day. Wake up and do your job.
That's
problem solved.
I think also, I mean, for all that you're going through with the mother or the father of the child, never ever let that relationship with your kids stray or suffer to the point that you totally don't understand what's going on.
Talk to kids about sex.
My thing is right with kids have a funny way of, they like to adapt. So when they're with their mom, they adapt to what their mother wants them to be.
Yeah, some kids do.
When they're with their father, they adapt to how they want their father.
Don't let that happen. Let the child choose what they want to be.
Try to look for the gray areas.
Yeah.
Try to look for the gray areas. Try to look for the waning eyes. Try to look for the uncomfortness when you mention a particular situation, especially when the other party has whichever the parent has another partner. Because that also can be a situation. That can also add to it or take away from it. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is right. Not because you know that person has somebody else in their life.
Get over yourself.
You still have that responsibility to deal with your child, and that relationship with your child should not suffer.
Do your job.
If you still, you played around with them, you hung out with them, you have your own little, routine with them. Don't let that waver. And please, parents, especially if you're going through a situation where you've just jumped into this whole co-parenting, or you've fallen into this co-parenting hole, please do not use the time. I call it a hole. Do not use the time with the children as an audit session or a CIA session or a question and answer.
Exactly. Oh,
you don't listen. You and that person are not together anymore. You shouldn't ask that child about, you know, what's your mommy doing? No.
Did mommy bring a man over there?
You don't do that.
Nah.
Don't do that. Just keep.
Ain't your business.
You keep it 100 with them, and if not, be more so with your children. Because my thing is, right, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, just be lewd with them and be disrespectful around them and lead them down that way. They don't have to.
There's a level of decorum.
Exactly. Still be a parent. And please do not be their friend. Don't try to be their friend.
You're their parent.
You're their parent.
Leave that
job.
for the actual friends.
Do your job.
3-letter word.
And that's what
Do your job.
Yeah.
Anything else to say?
Yeah. Basically, man, tonight, I don't think. Look, we crushed this subject tonight. I don't think anyone else has a better opinion than we do.
Here comes Jason.
We got
Here
this.
comes Jason.
No one can touch this.
Did anybody see this coming?
We're like MC Hammer. You can't touch this.
You ate your mushroom, you just grew up.
That's cool, man. It's me, Jason.
Oh, you actually knew that one.
Yeah. Come on, man. But people, I'm telling you, you cannot do what you are not supposed to do. The only thing you have to do, come on, tell him.
Do your job.
That's
I'm
all.
sorry, I missed my cue.
And be responsible.
And he let me in so good.
I'm saying,
Do your job.
do your job.
And don't
if
try
you're a
to-
mother, be a mother. If you're a father, be a father.
Don't try to be a friend to your
Do
children.
not. It's not your job. Your job is to ensure that your child is brought up in the way they're supposed to. It's a biblical sense, but still, train up your child the way they should be brought, and they shall not depart from it in the future. You show your child what they're supposed to do. Couple years in, they will always end up in a wayward.
Be real to your children.
Talk to
They
kids
will
about
always
sex.
come back. That
Speak
too.
the truth, shame the devil.
I
Talk to
realize
your
that's
kids about
Dario's big
sex.
line, but
I'm
still,
serious.
it makes sense.
It'll change the world. Talk to kids about sex.
You got to do what you got to do with your kids for your kids. In the end, it doesn't have anything to do with you. You brought someone in the world, train them right. Do what you have to do. Be a parent. If you're the mother, be the mother. If you're a father, be the father. You can't be both. If you have to do that part, you have to. But the bottom line is, do the part that you're supposed to do. Be a father, be a mother. You can't want to be a friend. That's not your part. That's not your part. So people, we thank you so much for listening to what we say. But at this moment, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to give you our final views on this very strong, passionate topic. We'll be right
Jason
back.
did his job.
Jason did his job right there. What? Jason, drop the mic. Just drop.
And just like we were saying, do your job. And we're back, and we're doing our job, and we're telling you that you need to do your job.
Listen to
when
us.
When it comes to co-parenting, just focus on what you have to do.
It's a three-letter word. Just a three-letter word.
Do your job.
Well, three-letter
Ignore
sentence.
everything else.
I had to correct myself.
Anything else. Just do what you gotta do. Don't blame the teacher. Don't blame the other.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me.
the
No.
other parent. Don't blame the auntie. Don't blame the grandmother. You do what you gotta do.
I am not Akon. I am not Akon. Do not put the blame on me.
No, don't blame the stepdad. Don't don't try to make your child a pawn in your little chess game to get back at your ex. I mean, it makes no sense because you're the one who ends up losing.
And if you have any questions, just check us out Facebook page and like,
share,
and comment
us at It's a Man's World CVN, and you will get any answers, all the answers, how to raise your child.
From us.
Yeah.
You can't forget that part. The answers come
You know
from
what?
us.
Just sit your kids down every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on Caribbean Vibes Network, and we'll raise your kids.
Channel
for
100,
you.
yeah, tell me so.
We'll
Channel
do it.
100, Channel 100.
Me and Nasty. We'll
That's
do it.
right.
Whoa.
That's
whoa,
right.
Whoa.
That's right.
Whoa. Why you guys being so selfish? Come on.
Somebody got to go grocery shopping.
All right.
Do you have ID? Can you?
Dude. I may be short, but it's not short. I'm fun size, but I'm still
Fun
legal.
size.
I'm legal.
Oh my God.
I have
Get it
no
right.
idea what he's
Don't
saying.
not worry about that.
Big ups and pickups.
Disclaimer: I am
Sorry,
in no
guys.
way affiliated
Big bro.
with Jason.
Big bro, it's all right.
And will not
you're
be-
not affiliated, but yet you give me high fives and big ups early. It's
That
all
never
right.
happened, people.
Okay, they saw.
Lies.
But anyway, we want to thank you very much
See ya.
for watching this episode of It's a Man's World. Do not forget, we're going to say it again.
Do your job.
Please, parents,
Do your
come
job.
on, come on.
Be respectful.
That too. That is very
Take care
important.
of your responsibility.
And listen to us.
Number one.
Hey, and we want to thank everybody who tuned into our live feed tonight.
Yes,
you guys
that
were
too.
great. I want to give you a shout out on air live, y'all. Thank you.
I love your comments.
Yeah.
Ish.
Keep them coming.
Very much so.
Some of
Kinda.
you,
There was an ish in there.
some of you need
Sort
to
of.
shut up,
Ish.
but we like
Thank you
them
very
anyway.
much.
Just bring
We'll
them,
see you
keep
next
them coming.
We
time.
appreciate it.
See you next
Bye.
time.